Diversity, equity, and inclusion. 3 words leading to the demise of America. Leftists now put the color of your skin or your sexual preference over knowledge, experience, and the safety and security of the general public. Take the Baltimore bridge collapse. We don't know if DEI had anything to do with it, but it is worth investigating. Take a look at this tweet by Congressman Phil Lyman, a Republican now running for governor in Utah. It reads, "This is what happens when you have governors who prioritize diversity over the well-being and security of its citizens." Lyman is pointing to a tweet that describes the commissioner of the Port of Baltimore as a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant. Is she directly to blame for this crash? Probably not. But Lyman's point is about creating a culture with no accountability. That's what DEI is all about. Still, the media flipped out over his comments and others, missing the larger point that a culture of DEI puts politics over performance.
A Republican running for governor of Utah blamed the bridge collapse on, you will not guess, diversity, and governors who prioritize diversity over the well-being and security of citizens. I'm not making that up.
Just shame on those people who want to make something out of this that isn't there. They have this boogeyman philosophy, and if it's black or brown, it's something that they've got a target on.
No, DEI is most certainly a problem. I'm not sure we can blame Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg directly for the crash that caused the bridge collapse. But I also don't think it's a coincidence that his all-out quest, along with the left's all-out quest, to push DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion across the country is having a negative effect on transportation safety in America. He just isn't focused on what really matters. Let's go back in time. It started with his bike to work hoax. Remember that? Where his driver literally chauffeured him, as you see there. Him and his bike chauffeured him to work just so he could get out of that SUV for the photo op of him pedaling to the front door of DOT headquarters as if this was somehow his entire commute. It wasn't. This is a man that simply can't be taken seriously. The cargo freightliner crash is just the latest in a series of transportation debacles and tragedies under Buttigieg's watch. Again, I doubt his ineptitude and the rise in mishaps is unrelated. The train derailment in East Palestine and the horrific response that only made matters worse, all under Buttigieg. His secret paternity leave, remember that? For months, leaving the Department of Transportation without a leader. His constant crowing about the climate, all while using government private jets for his personal travel. Talk about hypocrisy. Even his claims that bridges and tunnels can be racist, too.
If an underpass was constructed such that a bus carrying mostly black and Puerto Rican kids to a beach, or there would have been, in New York was designed too low for it to pass by, that obviously reflects racism that went into those design choices. I don't think we have anything to lose by confronting that simple reality, and I think we have everything to gain by acknowledging it and then dealing with it.
But there's nothing there. In fact, as I mentioned, the bridge is a fantasy. Now, that was a while ago, that soundbite. But it shows he's focused on this issue of racism. And he's not focused on the safety and security of America. Don't forget about Boeing. Boeing executives took their cues from the leftist leaders and instituted DEI programs everywhere that seem to be the leading culprit to its horrific problems. DEI, in fact, leaves no room for accountability. Listen to Joe Biden explain who should pay for the cleanup and rebuilding of the Francis Scott Key Bridge.
I've directed my team to move heaven and earth to reopen the port and rebuild the bridge as soon as humanly possible. It's my intention that federal government will pay for the entire cost of reconstructing that bridge, and I expect the Congress to support my effort.
This all goes back to DEI and the lack of accountability. Federal government's going to pay for the entire cost? What? It is indisputable. The giant freightliner, the Dolly, caused the collapse when it crashed into the bridge. I'm sure it looks like an accident now. But why should I in Texas, or you in any state you're watching from, be responsible for the rebuild? The shipping company needs to pay for it. Between insurance and out-of-pocket cash, the companies responsible for this ship need to bear the cost to clean up and rebuild the bridge. They're the ones responsible for it. The shipping giant Maersk charters the ship. It's operated by a company called Synergy Marine Group, and it's owned by a company in Singapore. All three entities should be held responsible for this. Shockingly, though, even a member of the leftist Washington media realized this.
You said the federal government's also going to pay for the repairs. I'm just curious, this was a ship that appears to be at fault. Is there any reason to believe that the company behind the ship should be held responsible? And then also, you mentioned...
That could be, but we're not going to wait for that to happen. We're going to pay for it to get the bridge rebuilt and opened.
How about you bring in the CEOs of all those companies and hold them accountable? See, it seems to me like Sleepy Joe didn't even consider the idea of actually holding those responsible accountable. Which brings us back to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Last night on this program, our supply chain expert raised the concern that Synergy Marine, the company responsible for the operations of the Dolly, had, like Boeing, also gone DEI crazy.
The thing I'm more concerned with is that Synergy Marine Group, the company that owns that ship, if you go to their website, they have page upon page upon page talking about their DEI and their commitment to DEI, much like Boeing. Boeing's starting to have planes drop out of the sky. They're having doors pop off. They're having tires pop off. And now we're seeing ships collide into bridges. Could it be DEI? To quote Elon Musk, maybe DEI.
So I did what the mainstream media never does. I wanted to confirm what even my guest had offered up. So I went to Synergy Marine's website today, and look what I found. It's got a whole page related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. It reads, quote, "At Synergy, we want a workplace that is truly characterized by inclusion and belonging." Goes on to say, we want our entire workforce to appreciate and show sensitivity to the cultural and any other differences that exist in our teams. You know what I couldn't find on that page? On that page, there isn't one mention of Synergy Marine striving to bring the best and the brightest maritime professionals into one company that strives for safety, peak performance, and customer service. Instead, they want to make sure their employees feel they belong. Tell that to the 6 dead construction workers who were working on that bridge when Synergy Marine's boat smashed into it.